What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Berm Pit Podcast. I am your host, Scott Benjamin Siverts. We are filmed, edited, produced right here at Studio Me in Pittsburgh, PA. You can watch us on the Spreely TV network. Spreely is your home for free speech. Spreely is short for Speak Freely. It is a First Amendment advocate network. You can find it on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, and you can download the Freedom Hub app right in your phone. You can find it on the App Store. It's absolutely free. It costs you nothing. And it supports podcasts just like this. Dominic Izzo's on there, Austin Peterson. There's a lot of good creators on there. So download the Freedom Hub app. With me today in studio is a gentleman that I have a lot of respect for that has come from a long way here, from Michigan. 7 hours he's driven to do this podcast, which is a gesture that I am honored for. He's the author of a few books, but this book he sent me a few months ago. It's called Ideal Man REVIVING MASCULINITY. His name is Travis Neville. Travis, what's up, brother?
Thanks for having me, man. It's cool as hell to be here.
Thank you for coming here. This is awesome.
Yeah, shit, man, it's cool.
When you reached out, you sent me the book, and you wrote something in there. Which I didn't catch it, by the way, until I was through the book there. Yeah. It kind of made me swell up a little bit. But you sent me this book. And then you reached out and said, hey, we're in the kind of the same space. You do podcasts, I do podcasts. Let's do something. Do you want to do a Zoom? And you're like, no, man, I want to come come see you. So this is awesome. Thank you.
Glad to be here. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So typically what we do for the show, we allow the guests to give a kind of a 360 view of yourself, introduce yourself to the listening viewing audience, say whatever you like, take as much time as you like. Travis Neville.
I'm Travis Neville. I wrote a book called Reviving Masculinity. My job, so to speak, is to help men be better at being men. Now, when I say that, you're going to hear one of two things. You're going to hear, oh, here's another loudmouth, macho, toxic masculinity asshole who is just trying to push women down, blah, blah, blah. You might hear that when I say helping men be better at being men. Or you might hear, oh, here's another smooth down liberal, beard for looks guy who's just trying to get women or men to be more palatable and tolerable to women. And I'm really neither of those things, but kind of a little bit of both. I'm not the big truck, small dick guy. I do have a big ass truck, 2 of them. And I do talk about, what's going on inside you, man. I talk about your feelings and stuff like that. What I believe to be true is that to be a man today is more difficult than it's ever been. You still have to stay diligent about the things that being a man was 1,000 years ago. You still have to be able to do that, and now you have to do some other things too. I think that there are 18 things that you need to be able to do to be a great man, and that's why I wrote this most recent book. These are the things that young men are missing. If they'd had good, strong fathers in their lives, they probably wouldn't need this stuff, but many don't. So here, I'll help you out. That was the point.
That's good. Yeah, you have another book, though, that you wrote before this.
Yeah, I started out with a book called The Johnson Method. Really, I just wrote that to see if I could write a book, very frankly. But the background on that was... I'd gone through some things in my life, man. I've been divorced. I've lost my career. Had some bad shit happen. Went to jail. And coming out of that, I realized, hey, the common thread here is me. So I might think I'm in great shape. I might think I'm doing things right, but maybe I'm not. It's time to look in the mirror. So I spent some time, did a lot of research, did a lot of reading, listening to podcasts, things like that. Found Jordan Peterson, found some other sources that empowered me to really look into myself. And I came up with this system of that I go by every day, so that where I can score myself and know if I'm being a good man today, and that's what that first book is.
That's good. I was going to ask you what motivated you to be an author, to write the book, and you just said, just to see if you could.
Yeah, that's it. See if I could do it, dude. I like that stuff. Like I ran a marathon just to see if I could do it.
That's awesome.
I've done lots of things that way. It's just I got the time.
That's good. Yeah.
I'm limited by my imagination, so I'll just come up with a challenge and see if I can do it.
You said you're in Michigan.
Yep.
You're a construction guy.
Yeah, I run a construction company.
That's amazing. That's good.
Love doing it.
That's good stuff. Well, if you don't mind,
let's go, man.
I'd like to get into this book.
Yeah.
I have. I mean, I told you off air that I've read the book 3 times now because I think everyone should get a copy of this. By the way, where can they find this? I'm going to say this throughout the thing. Where can we find this?
Amazon, man, or anywhere. If you Google Reviving Masculinity, it's going to come up. Like, nobody else has that title. Or you can just go to my website, travisneville.com. You do that, I'll send you a signed one.
I'll have the team here at Studio Me put that up for
on a graphic.
On a graphic.
Cool.
There.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. All right, let's.
Stick in, man. Whatever you want.
I love this.
Your show.
All right. So you have these traits right on the front.
Yeah.
And it's actually these characteristics are each chapter.
Correct.
So let's start with the first one, which is physically fit. Now, there's an importance on. Well, actually, I want to read something first.
Go ahead. Man.
All right. The preface here. I'm going to read this. Women occasionally ask me why my work is valid. I generally respond the same way each time. What kind of guys would you like your daughter around? What type of man do you prefer in a partner? Most women prefer strong men. Weakened, emasculated men are dangerous, unpredictable, and unfulfilled. I thought that was really good. But I have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read that, what kind of man would I want my daughter to be around?
Yeah.
Is the answer would be a guy like you. Somebody that's aware.
Shit, man.
Well, somebody that's aware of these traits and what it is to be a man. I mean, there's a lot of. You can comment on any of this stuff. I'm going to read it. All right.
I know what it says.
This is really good. All right. You also talked about this because Matt and I have talked about this in the podcast we do with the live thing. Is men's grip strength is deteriorated. You made a mention of this.
Yeah.
We just talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
It's people. Not a lot of people know this, but throughout the last however many years, men's grip strength has gone down by, and I can read the exact statistic, but if you put that in there, I think it's a great thing that you put in there.
You want me to talk about it?
If you want, just
sure.
touch
So
on it.
yeah, the idea is this. Grip strength when tested, and they tested it in a very organized fashion. They went to the same college on the East Coast 30 years ago and tested college guys' grip strength. So it wasn't like, we went to a construction site the first time and we went to an office the second time.
Right.
And 30 years later, same college, same guys. Obviously not same guys. It's 30 years later, but they tested his grip strength and it had dropped significantly, like 40%, I think. I can't remember what it was, but
yeah.
And that obviously says that physically we're not what we used to be.
Deteriorating there.
Oh, way down. And, you could say, all right, there's a great argument for, hey, we live in a place, thankfully, that's so much more civilized now. We don't have to do all these things physically anymore.
Right.
And that's a solid argument. It is. But it leads to so many other things, right? Like it's just a simple test. And the where I read that actually was in Men's Health magazine, which wasn't, it's not some cartoon coloring book. Like this is a Men's Health magazine, right?
Right.
And their solution at the end of that, when they were telling that story, was so that men should be doing grip strength exercises, which just blew my mind because that's a symptom of the fucking problem. It isn't the problem. The problem is that we're not developing our bodies like we should. I'm not saying everybody should be in the weight room all the time. Right. You and I lift, and that's fine. That's what we do. But it's a part of who you are as a man, okay?
Yeah.
Our superior physical strength is part of what differentiates us from women. So why would you not want to be more of that?
Sure.
Right? Just like a woman, right, wants to be more feminine.
Right.
The things that with the makeup and the eyelashes and all the shit they wear, which
soft,
is
delicate,
great.
feminine.
Exactly.
Right.
They want to be more of that.
Yes. Right. Well, the reason why I wanted to start with that first is because the first chapter is physically fit.
Right.
And a men's presence or prowess, physical presence is a big thing.
For sure.
When a man comes in the room that's physically fit or that has a presence to him, a masculine presence to him, people respond and treat him differently. Men
and women will.
Agreed here. Yeah. So the first chapter, physically fit. And I love that each chapter you start with like the accompanying music thing.
I forgot I did that. Yeah,
it's really good. I
mean, shit. Thunderstruck. Is there a better weight room song or working out song than Thunderstruck? Like it still gets me, man. Like really I was coaching football and like I listened to that on the day of a game.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to play.
Hell's Bells. I do
that whole album. Back in Black. Album. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's good. But we're going to quote a gentleman that we both had the pleasure of working with, and it's in the first chapter, and it's Jack Donovan.
Yeah, great guy.
The quote here is, "There's a substantial difference between being a good man and being good at being a man." What's your take from that quote?
Oh man, I mean, that is what the book is.
He's
just
good.
That. Yeah, he's awesome. Being a good man is somewhat innate, okay, and that's a thing that's your sense of right and wrong, your black and white, justice, whatever it is. That was instilled in you by your parents, by your teachers, and that's probably not going to change much. for your life. So that's being a good man. Being good at being a man, that's constant diligence, vigilance even. And there are 18 things that make you good at being a man.
Yeah.
And here they are in this book. So I wanted to have that on there.
That's
that
good.
quote from Jack in there early. I think that's his defining characteristic out of the many great things he's done. But
I'm going to read another quote here because you have so many good ones.
Thanks, man.
People, I'm telling you, this book is really good. And I agree with, at the end of the physically fit chapter, you do say, hey, sometimes you don't have ways to go to a gym or anything, but you give three points here where you can do this.
Free ways to be fit.
And I like it because I agree with it, and it's a military. This is
You
straight
guys
up.
are all body weight over there in the military. Yeah.
So John F. Kennedy, physical fitness is not only one of the most important keys to a healthy body, it is the basis of dynamic and creative intellectual activity.
You can't be as smart as you can be. You can't be as wise as you can be. You can't do anything mentally as well as you could if you were fit.
Drill instructors used to say, a strong body, strong mind.
They're right.
Absolutely.
It's the best way to develop your mind is through using your body. I had this question. I was on a panel earlier this week with a men's group in Canada, and I had this guy who wasn't in very good shape, and he asked me, hey, how come you're so big on that? And I was kind of stumped, and I'm like, oh, what do I say to this guy? And then it hit me. I'm like, well, if you can find another thing that you can do basically every day that's going to teach you the same things that working out will teach you, like delayed gratification. Like, hey, if I'm uncomfortable now, I'll be more comfortable later. If that putting in time now makes me happy later. All the things that are going to make you happy. If you can do a thing that no matter what mood you're in, Scott, no matter what went wrong in your life, you go work out, God damn it, you feel better after that.
For sure.
At least a little bit.
Well, there's a science to that, too.
Oh, for sure.
It releases those endorphins. Yeah.
I told him that if you can find something else that does that, I encourage you to do it. Right. Call me if you do.
Yeah, let me know.
But
right.
This is it.
Yeah. And, too, you're talking about the delayed gratification, and there's something about being consistent in something. You just keep coming back, keep showing up.
It'll make you great at anything.
There's a quote that I love from a guy named Forrest Griffin.
Love him, fighter. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Read his book. It's great. How to be prepared when shit goes down. I think something like that.
Yeah,
great book. Hilarious.
I have his book too. He's a funny guy.
Yeah,
but he talked about that. You can take this too. I have no germs, by the way. I took one sip of that. But he said, I really sucked at jiu-jitsu. He goes, but the funny thing is, if you keep showing up for 20 years, eventually they give you your black belt, and that's what it was. He just kept showing up. But
it isn't an accident.
No.
He earned the damn black belt.
No, he earned it. Absolutely right. But he just talked about,
Yeah.
I showed up every day.
Yeah.
It was consistent. So
it's not a participation trophy. Like, he actually is a black belt.
So easy, free, portable ways to become physically fit. Run, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups. That's all Marine Corps shit right there.
Yep.
And then stop eating simple sugars. Cut sugars out of your life.
That'll go a long way.
That'll go a long way. I agree. Really good. All right. Chapter 2, violent.
This is the one that gets everybody's hackles up, right?
People always, like my parents when I talk about, I'm sure you read Violence is Golden, Jack Donovan. He talks about violence being the gold standard here, that it's a universal language. And myself and
among men, for sure, yeah.
With Matt, we talk about a book by Arthur Desmond. It's called Might is Right. And
you got to text me all this shit, too. You're turning me on to some stuff that I don't want to miss.
All right, so the issue with violence being Jordan Peterson has that quote too, which is, a man should be capable of violence. The exact quote, I think you have it in here actually, but is.
I know the one you're talking about. He says that a man who's not capable of violence is not
a good man.
No, he's not.
No.
Yeah, a man who has
a good man is capable of violence
and has control.
And has control over it. Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for finishing my thought there.
Sorry,
my brain's all over the place.
I'm still calming down too.
This is a good quote too. I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Man, if you know, you know, right? Man,
why put violent in there? A man should be violent.
Man,
physically fit, number 1. Violent, 2. We're on the second one.
Sure. So I get this question all the time, as you'd imagine. I had actually a teacher that I worked with, I really respect. She called and said, "Man, that's why I didn't buy the book, because it's got violent on the cover." I'm like, well, then it was there for the right reason, because it caught your eye, and that's what I was trying to do. I mean, shit, it's the cover of a book, right? It's supposed to catch your eye. I guess if I were to redo it, I'd call it Dangerous, because Dangerous speaks more to the capability and less to an actual action, something that's happening right now.
Right.
So, I guess, but Violent looks a lot more, nice on the cover.
Yeah.
Why have it in there? Man, if, protect and provide. When somebody asks what a man's supposed to do, even a woman will tell you protect and provide.
Right.
Fucking protect is half of it. How are you going to do that if you're not at least capable, right? I mean, you don't go. It doesn't mean you go around fighting people all the time. You don't go to a bar on Friday night and look for somebody's ass to whoop.
Right.
That's not the idea. It's matter of fact, I specifically say in there, the more capable of violence you are, the less likely you are to ever use it.
Right.
Because you'll know how much damage you can cause, and then you won't do it.
Well, I'm going to read a quote from Tim Kennedy in your book.
Great guy.
He's a former Army Ranger, UFC fighter. If the day ever comes that you have to fight for your life, the only thing that will determine the outcome is if you have trained and prepared for that fight. Yeah. That's really good.
It's the truth. You got to have a plan. I say at the end of the chapter that that's one of the things you can do to be prepared to be violent, is to actually just have a mental plan. Yeah. I ride with the American Legion up in Harbor Springs.
Nice.
And we have a motorcycle club. And when we have an event, whether it's a Halloween party or live band or whatever, I'll work the door. Because I'm one of the younger guys there. It's the American Legion, right? They're all pretty old.
Yeah.
So I'll work the door. I'm just collecting money and meeting everybody, and it's working out great. But when you're working the door, people see you as the security, right?
Sure.
So we're there for a Halloween party, and a woman comes up, says, hey, this guy over there just hit a woman. Well, we got to take that seriously, right?
Sure.
So my buddy and I walk over there, and I'm talking to the guy, and everything, he's just running his mouth, which I'm like, all right, cool, he's not going to be a problem, because guys who run their mouth aren't. Like the guys who are capable don't tell you, right?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, this guy's going to be fine. And so we're doing what we have to do, and then he squared to me and closed distance and got within range, and I didn't even think about it. I lit him up, hit him in the neck,
nice.
Which that was all of what our training was. I used to be a volunteer sheriff's deputy, and I got to do all this DTs. It was great. Anyway, lit him up, hit him in the neck. Before I know it, we're on the ground. I'm like, wow, that just happened. I didn't even have to think about it because I was prepared, like Tim Kennedy says.
That's good.
And it's been 25 years, dude, since I've been in like something that wasn't training oriented, right? But being prepared. I'm just one example. Lots of people.
You have to be vigilant on those scenarios. Chris, you have a quote here from Chris Kyle.
Everybody knows Chris Kyle.
Everyone
American
knows Chris.
Sniper.
Yep. So there are three types of people in this world: sheep, wolves, and sheepdogs. Some people prefer to believe that evil doesn't exist in the world, and if it ever darkened their doorstep, they wouldn't know how to protect themselves. Those are sheep. Then you've got predators who use violence to prey on the weak. They're the wolves. And then there are those blessed with the gift of aggression and an overpowering need to protect the flock. These men are the rare breed who live to confront the wolf, and they're the sheepdog. It's really good.
That's great shit, man. I actually had to watch that scene like 5 times to get the wording exactly how he said it in the movie.
That's really good.
But that's great shit. And I think guys like you and I are,
you
cool.
recommend you don't just. I mean, you're building what you're building here is an outline of characteristics that men should have or possess. But you're also throughout the book, you're giving advice as to how to get to those characteristics. Like in this particular chapter 2, you're saying, hey, go take some self-defense classes. Go train. Go do these things. They're gonna. You can access this attribute of this characteristic.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing. Fuck, man, I used to be a teacher, so of course I want to teach you how to do it. Like, I keep hearing all the time that there are no good men anymore. Well, first thing you got to do is define what a man is. Well, so I did that, and then you got to. How do you access that? Like the what is a woman bullshit. Nobody wants to answer it.
Right.
Well, I answered what is a man. That's what it is right there.
Yeah.
It's all these things.
That's good.
Right. Like that's what it is. There's so many guys out there who don't know. They don't know what to be. Man, 40% of our society is single moms. Right? So you got 40% of men being raised by women. Going to a school that's all women, and that's great. You got to have women, but you got to have men too.
Right.
You're never going to learn. Boys learn how to be men socially. Okay, girls learn how to be women biologically. They're going to want to hold that baby, be nurturing. All that stuff comes from within. It's a hormonal thing. But we've got to see. You had to see your older brother going to the Marines to be, shit, that's what I want to do. I had to see my dad be a good man, my uncles, coaches. To know what to do. And if you don't have that, you're stuck looking at screens. And the shit that's on screens right now is garbage.
Amen, brother. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Preach. That's good.
Sorry, man. I jumped into a preach there.
That's great. You need examples, right?
That's the idea.
You need somebody.
Yep.
All right. So the third one we're at here, calm.
Yeah.
I do like that. That's one of the things that I've as a younger man, tried to really focus for myself. So this chapter I really liked, remaining calm. I'm going to read a quote here, chapter 3. With This is from George Washington. Good one.
The man.
With me, it has always been a maxim rather to let my designs appear from my works than by my expressions. My countenance never yet betrayed my feelings. That's a great word, by the way. Countenance is a face.
Yep. Those were two different quotes. I smashed them together, but
well,
I just put them right next to each other. He
break
did
down
say both
being
those
calm
things.
for a man. For being calm
Yeah.
for a man. Why put that in there?
I think it makes sense to have it follow the chapter on violence, just to really dig in there that, hey, we're not
Some strategy
going out
to this.
killing.
This is good.
Yeah,
This is good.
You're not trying to go out and kill everybody. See, that's not what it is. You just have to be capable of that and then learn how to control it, which is what chapter 3 is about. Being calm is about controlling what's coming out from within you. Okay, that's what calm is. And you asked me earlier the difference.
Yes.
And I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So calm is about controlling what's already inside you. Okay, another great question I got earlier this week. How do you deal with an intrinsic trigger, a thing that happens within you, and stop that from causing action? I always talk about there's the damn word trigger, which I hate, but everybody wants to talk about that. Oh, I was triggered and so I behaved this way. Well, in between there is where you live as a man. Like, this is where you decide how you're going to deal with this and then how your actions are going to be.
Yeah.
Well, when you're dealing with the chapter about calm is about the internal stuff, like, how did my upbringing affect me, or, maybe why I'm feeling these emotions about this other thing, and, I'm really nervous about this thing happening at work, and I can't let that turn into behaviors at home with my family, right? So that's what calm's about, is maintaining that, not letting the internal stuff come out of you, which, fuck, man, I just got done saying how you got in the chapter before that, genetic need for violence, genetic need to bleed that off of you. And if you don't, it's going to come out in the wrong places. So after I said that, I figured I better calm it down a little bit.
Well, that's really good. Well, you see a lot of those guys, like you just said, when you're dealing with, you're working the door for the American Legion.
Yeah.
And you see a guy running his mouth.
Yeah.
Most guys, I mean, I don't want to say all, but that's been my experience. Most guys that know how to handle themselves, that have been in those rooms, like jiu-jitsu,
Sure.
wrestling,
Yeah.
they're usually the ones that are the calmest. That aren't going to start any.
Yep.
If they have experience in martial arts, different disciplines, or they've competed,
Yeah.
they know that violence isn't that fun.
No, it isn't. Because you're going to get hurt too.
Right.
Yeah.
So they want to avoid it at all costs. I mean, you look at a guy, you break it down, Jocko Willink, who you have in your book too, he does a thing on this where he's like, run. If there's something like that, you can
Unless
always
I don't
walk
have
away.
a choice.
Unless you put me in a position where I don't have a choice. But you can always avoid that. You can always avoid the physical.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah. So that's really good. All right. You don't mind that I'm going through?
No, man, not at all.
All right. So we got.
I'm glad you're a fan.
We got physically fit. We got violent. We got calm. Those are the first 3. Number 4, accountable.
Most important chapter in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, most important chapter. If you can't, I don't know, man.
Well, the first quote here is from Jocko. And it says, once people stop making excuses, stop blaming others, and take ownership of everything in their lives, they're compelled to take action to solve the problem. And that's kind of what you said when we started the podcast. Like, once I looked and said, this is on me. Maybe I don't have everything together. That's self-accountability.
You can be about it, or you can talk about it, or you can be about it, man.
That's good.
That's it.
I did highlight a couple things in here, too. Thomas Paine, a great one.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Dude, he has
That
some
guy's
really
a quote
good-
machine, man.
He
He's
is. Thomas Paine's really good. Quote from Thomas Paine: "A body of men holding themselves accountable to nobody ought not be trusted by anybody." It's really good.
Yeah, I'm working on my 3rd book right now. I have a whole chapter on mentorship, how you need to your whole life have mentors, right? And then the chapter right after that is about mentees. If you don't have people who are looking at you, you aren't as good as you could be. And what I mean by that is you're aware they're watching you. Like how you and I right now know these cameras are on us. We're having a nice conversation, that's true.
Yeah.
But we're aware people are watching us, so it makes you be your best self, eh?
Yep.
And I think that's what he's talking about there.
No man is an island. This is from you, by the way.
Okay.
No man is an island. There are others in your life, and they're always watching you, which is what you just said.
It's true.
Your children, perhaps more than anyone else, are imprinting. Your partner is watching you as well. So true. I mean, you as a man, I think, if you have kids, I always am kind of aware of that. Like, how
You have kids?
I have 3.
Good for you, man.
I have
You're so lucky.
I have a daughter, who's 13, a boy, 7, and another boy's 3.
You mentioned that. You were talking about your daughter earlier.
And I'm always aware that when they're watching me, especially how I treat my wife.
You fucking better believe it, dude. That's the number one way to determine normal in a relationship. What did your parents do?
Yep.
It's huge.
I set the example there so my boys know how to treat a woman. They watch me and they go, well, Dad always did this with Mom.
And I hope that your daughters are learning how to treat a man.
Right.
Right. So underplayed. Nobody.
That's true.
Right.
It works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the society, I mean, we don't have to go off the rails here, but a society, a broken family is a real problem.
Yeah.
Is a real problem. The denigration of the family. Girls need their dads. And
boys, all of them do.
Boys need their dads, but boys need their moms. There's roles that the husband and the wife, two parents, fulfill in children and then in society. Mm-hmm. It's really important. But accountability, that's a good one. All right, so we got physically fit, violent, calm, and accountable.
Right.
Number 5 is appreciative. You start this chapter off with John Wayne, which is a really good quote. The quote from John Wayne is, "Sure, I wave the American flag. Do you know a better flag to wave? Sure, I love my country with all her faults. I'm not ashamed of that. Never have been, never will be." Yeah, I mean, you have some really good stuff. I've bookmarked all this stuff. But appreciative. Break that down for me.
In that chapter, I tell a story about this guy. I was at a football game, and he sat through the anthem. And I did it in a real conspicuous fashion. And I was insulted by that. And I didn't say anything. I wasn't at a place where I wasn't supposed to be standing out. So I didn't say anything, not that I would have anyway. But the point there isn't the anthem. I just used the being an American as a way to, it's just a metaphor for your life, right? Yeah, country's not perfect. There's things we can work on, right? Just like you aren't perfect. There's things you can work on. There's things I'm not perfect. There's things I can work on. But it doesn't mean you can't enjoy what you have right now during the process, right?
Yeah.
Man, if you wait until everything's perfect to be happy, newsflash, bro, you're not going to be happy. Okay, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Like try to keep that focus on in there. It is about masculinity for sure, but what's the point if you're not happy with your life? You're not enjoying what you're doing.
Right.
If other people aren't going to want to be around you, that's not going to work. You got to be, so that's what it is, man. Finding ways to appreciate what's in front of you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there's the attitude of gratitude. Being
that's
grateful
good,
to be grateful for what you have in the moment. And there's so many different quotes. It's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
Sure, all that shit.
You get corny with some of that. Number 6. I'm going to repeat them as I go.
Go ahead, man.
Physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative. Number 6 is decisive. Mark Twain. Again, you have the quotes throughout this whole thing. Buying this book just for the quotes is worth it. I mean, I've highlighted so many different. It's amazing. All right. Mark Twain, good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from making bad decisions.
Yeah.
Great quote, but decisive. A man should be decisive. Break that down for me.
Well, again, to be a man is to be a leader. There's not a whole lot of delineation between the two. There's just some specifics that are different. And if you want to lead, there's got to be a place to go, right? So you got to decide where we're going. What's the outcome here that we're looking for? You've got to determine that, and then you got to stand behind it. You've got to be willing to make mistakes to get to where you're going, to improve and to be the best you can possibly be. Yeah, my man TR. I love Teddy Roosevelt. Both parties claim him. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And both parties say that he was a conservative or a liberal.
Right.
I think that's great. I think that speaks more to his greatness.
Right.
Because if both parties want to claim him and not condemn him,
right.
Shit, was he doing things well? That's a hard thing to do. You imagine somebody doing that today, where both sides are like, "Oh, he's our guy." No, he's our guy.
Yeah, right.
That's never going to happen.
Never going to happen. No.
Yeah, well, he knew that to ask forgiveness and not permission. This shit needs to be done. I'm going to decide that. Do it. I'll ask for forgiveness later, but it needs to be done.
Well, this is his quote. Excuse me. Any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing, and the worst thing you can do is nothing.
Yeah.
Indecision is worse than...
And it's a decision in itself to not decide anything. I guarantee you're not going to improve if you decide you're not going to do anything. You're not going to improve. If you fail, at least you got something to learn from, right? Then you get better.
Yep.
If you succeed, awesome. But both of those require you to actually fucking decide to do something, move forward.
That's good. All right, again, we got physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive. That's a really good one. And now honorable. It's number 7. I like that this is number 7. Calvin Coolidge is in my top 5.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know that much about him.
Easily. Top 5. Yeah, I mean, he. If you look back, the Roaring '20s was mostly because of him. The only thing I don't like about him is the prohibition stuff. He was, you know.
I know enough to know that was political pressure. I don't think that he really wanted that. I think he knew enough.
But he cut taxes. He cut. I mean, most libertarians like to claim him. But anyways, Calvin Coolidge. No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave. It's really good.
It's true.
So a man being honorable, and the accompanying music here is USMC Delayed Recon Cadence Count. That's good.
Are you familiar with that one? I'm sure you are.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
just Google it or YouTube it. There's 1,000 of them, and they're all awesome. They're all so good.
Yeah.
Just dudes screaming all together in unison and ready to fight. Like, it's so solid.
So Atticus Finch, another good
my
quote
favorite
here.
character in literature, man.
The quote here, I wanted you to see what real courage is. It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway. See it through no matter what, and see it through no matter what. That's good.
Yeah. He's if you know much about that story, he picked up a case and he knew he was going to lose it. It had to do with race. He knew he was going to lose it, but he fought his ass off. Man, he fought his ass off.
Honor is strong, sober commitment of your time and effort to a cause in which you believe. That's good.
And there's got to be something that's behind that cause, right?
Really
something has to have been accomplished for you to want to be a part of it. Yeah, honor's the back end. It's not the front end.
There's so many good stuff. It really is. I
actually like it, man.
Yes, it's really good. All right. Number 8 we're getting to, but I like that honorable is number 7.
I feel like I should have developed that more, very frankly, the honorable chapter. I'm glad that a vet like yourself and Welcome Home has Philip Folsom. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he told me that everybody says, hey, thanks for your service.
Yeah.
But he says it's more appropriate to, and he has much more eloquent than I am. He says it's so much more appropriate to say welcome home. Think about the things that happen, those guys coming back from Vietnam, etc.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I make that happen. Welcome home.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I don't, I guess I don't, when someone thanks me for my service, I don't think too much.
That's not why you did it.
I don't.
That's what everybody tells me. That's not why I did it.
You know, this is a volunteer. I volunteered. I signed up for this shit. That's like during COVID when everyone was calling like these medical professionals, nurses, doctors. They're heroes. They're heroes. This is my take, and it was.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings. Go ahead.
My take was they signed up for that shit.
Sure did.
I feel the same way about military. When the guys over there, oh, thank you so much. I signed up for that shit. And here's the kicker: is that those people that were dealing with COVID, they got paid a hell of a lot more than I did. As a PFC in 2000, I got paid $14,000. All right, that's all. That's what I got paid. Wow. And now I see guys like, and no offense to these guys, like Bedros Sculligan. I don't know if you know who.
I know who he is. Yeah,
listen,
great character.
He's running a boot camp, a 72-hour boot camp that he charges $15,000 for. and I'm jealous, by the way, because I know you're paying those guys great that are running the show, those SF guys and Marines, and I know some of those guys. Congratulations, you're killing it. But I signed up to do that. They run a crucible type event, a 72-hour event for these men that they go through, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
but they paid $15,000 to go through it. I made $14,000 my first year as a PFC
for in a whole year.
For the whole entire year. Drives me crazy. But anyways, number 8, honest. This is really good, and this is coming from you. The beginning of the chapter. There's a quote there from Robert E. Lee at the beginning, but I'm not going to read that. I'm going to read the beginning here because it's so true. A lie is work. Once you've uttered it, you then must work to make it appear true. You've got to keep track of which lies you've told and which people and act as if they're reality. It's really true.
Ton of fucking work, man. Tell the truth might suck up front, but it's a lot less work.
Being honest. Why is that important to being a man?
I think the whole book is about being honest. You can choose to repress the violent nature that you have genetically. You can choose to repress emotions that you have and become cut off to your partner. There's lots of things you can lie about. I would tell you it was what I did wrong when I was married is I was not honest about what I needed. I kept telling myself that if I were tougher, I didn't need that. Or if I were a better person, I wouldn't need that. Or, I'll be okay without it. Stuff like having a family, it's the thing I really wanted. And I kept telling myself I'd be all right without it. Well, what that does is as you crush that down, it's going to come out of you. You got to accept that, number one. Your emotions, the things that go on within you, they're going to come out. Okay, whether it's maybe you're great at hiding it, and you're going to have a heart attack at 58, or they just come out on how she parked her car, or whatever. Anyway, in both those cases, you just look like an asshole, and that's not what a man's supposed to be, right? You don't want to be that grumpy old bastard, and
No,
that's what they think you. They're walking on eggshells.
No one wants to be around you. Yeah.
No, and that's what you look like if you are not honest about what's going on inside you, and you can't deal with it. Because once you do that, then when you're honest with yourself about that, it's so much easier to be honest with somebody else. I know that's really obscure, and a lot of people are going to not understand that, but if you really do some thinking about it, it's the truth. Being honest about who you are, it's going to make you a better man. I think it would make you a better person too, probably, but I tried not to focus on that. Man, it was so easy writing this to be like, oh, this is about being a better, no, it's not. It's about being a fucking man. Okay, that's it. That's
good. All right. So we got physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, and here we are, number 9, loyal.
Pretty important.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to read again the beginning of the chapter here. This is from you, what you're writing. At all times in your life, you need a group of men to whom you feel a sense of loyalty. Choose them wisely. Know that your actions will influence them just as theirs will influence you. That's really good. And that's, that's biblical, going back. Bad company corrupts good character.
Sure does, man. One rotten apple.
That's it. That's the Farmer's Almanac type thing. Who you surround yourself with.
Your 5 most successful friends, or who you become. There's a million different stories about it.
Right?
Yeah.
If you have 5 friends around you that are all Cheeto eating, boogery nose having slobs, you're going to be the 6th one.
Yeah, you're going to start to be that way. Yeah.
And then if you surround yourself with guys that are well groomed, have their shit together, they're driven, they have the characteristics that you have in this book here, you're going to be the 6th.
Yeah, that's true. You want to believe that you're formed. You want to believe that you're an island and you're an adult and you're done. And I think to a certain extent, once you become an adult as a man, your curiosity starts to become less acceptable in public spaces. I can talk more about that, but you still are going to be impacted by what's around you, like it or not. And it isn't like, oh, I'm going to get on with the next fad, and I'm going to make sure I have the right flag over my Facebook picture. Like, it isn't that shit. It's because that's about what you want other people to think about you. Right. You really will be impacted by the people who are around you. Yeah. You only have 16 hours of thinking time in a day. The other 8 you're sleeping. What kind of thoughts are you going to be thinking? Whoever you're going to be talking with is probably going to determine a lot of that. Yeah. So having the right people around you.
You are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, they're going to hold you accountable when you fuck up. Yep. When you have an idea about something, you're like, man, I think I'm going to do this. You're in your own head. You're missing some shit. You're naturally biased. But when your boy can say, that's going to go to shit real fast, don't do it. That's helpful. Or when he says, hey, you're going to do that, it's going to be awesome. I'll help you. Yeah. That helps a lot too. It changes the route of your life. It does. I have
a friend that he's a big part of why I did this thing. We're in an RV. We're camping in the state of Washington.
Sounds cool.
And he's telling me, he's like, what do you want to do with your life, man? You're just running bars, and don't you want more? What do you really want to do with your life?
It's a good ass question.
And I said, I mean, for years, I'm talking like since 11, 12, I wanted to start a podcast. Yeah. I did. I have some of the connections that I had and some of the stories I have. I was like, I just want to have a podcast where I bring someone on and they can tell their story and just have a conversation. And he goes, well, fucking do it. Stop fucking around, do it. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So that's the friend that you need.
Yeah. It's just that little push sometimes, man.
Men make friends for 2 reasons only. The first is humor. Nobody's interested in being pals with someone who can't make you laugh. I agree.
It's true. Yeah.
Or doesn't enjoy a sense of humor. The second, by far the most important quality you need from a close friend is loyalty.
Yeah, and loyalty comes out in lots of ways, right? Not talking about a fist fight, although that, the guy who was with me that night at the American Legion is one of my closest friends, if not my closest friend. The guy's got a purple belt. He rolls at Black Lion in Grand Rapids, which is where Jamal Hill works out.
Oh, yeah.
So he rolls with him all the time. Same size. Yeah, he's a light heavyweight.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah. Mike's a guy I trust, and when that all went down, I'm like, we're going to be fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's that piece of loyalty, but there's also the idea that in his head, he didn't even hesitate. I know that he's going to help me with whatever it is. Hey, I'm building my house. Mike is also in construction.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'll draw up your plans for you. Oh, I need some help. I'll come up for the weekend. It'll be fun. We'll build some stuff. Like that, they're there when you need them.
Yeah.
Really is what it is. And sometimes there when you need them is to tell you some shit you don't want to hear. Right? That's what loyalty is.
Yeah.
A real loyal friend's going to tell you, you shouldn't marry that chick. Your life's going to go to hell. They're willing to
That's
take
a tough
that risk.
conversation to have,
It
though.
sure as hell is, man. I had one guy tell me that.
Really?
Yeah, his name's Eric. Good dude. Came to me and said, man,
Don't do it.
you need to get the hell out of this.
Man, that's a
Now-
tough conversation.
Oh, and I didn't talk to him for a couple of years. I wasn't friends with him like I was. I've since thanked him. It took a lot of balls, man. It took a lot of courage
To say that.
to say that to me because he cared that much about me. He loved me that much.
Wow. That's really good.
Yeah, shit, yeah. But that's what loyalty is. That's why you need it.
All right. Physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, loyal, and the next one, instinctive.
Yeah, so all right, so earlier I talked about how there's two different sort of forces in your head, right? You got your cognitive adult brain that does all the thinking and the analyzing and ultimately decides what you're going to do, determines your behaviors. But you have all these emotions that are going on in there too. Like I said, here's the impetus and here's the action, and then here's your adult brain trying to make sense of it, right? You're a man, you're still a human. You got anger, you got disappointment, you got shame, you got hurt, you got all these things that could happen inside you, and it's up to you to determine how they come out, right? What chapter are we on again?
This is number 10, instinctive.
Instinctive. So there's a third like kind of monkey wrench in the works here, and that's your instincts. You have within you an animal nature, okay, and your emotions are one thing; those are feelings.
There's a primal nature inside
Yeah,
you.
there's a thing inside you that where you can read situations and it defies all reason, okay? Where you have a gut instinct sometimes. You've been there. You walk into a room and you can tell. You don't know what you're looking at, but you know it's bad. You know something bad is about to happen. You just know
You
it.
can call it a vibe or energy or something.
Call it whatever the hell you
There's
want.
something in the air.
But there's a piece of you that's picking that up. It might be pheromones. It might be your vagus nerve. That's your body is telling your brain some signals.
Yeah.
They are not to be ignored, okay? When your instincts say, you know what, I was in that interview and it's a lot of money, but man, I don't think I want that job. You need to listen to that shit, okay? What's going to happen at the back end of it, of course, is your mind is going to try to make sense of it and say, oh, it doesn't make any sense. Everything's in place and blah, 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 blah. I bet you're going to regret it if you ignore your gut, if you ignore your gut instinct on things. And it takes a little time to develop that or to be able to listen to it and delineate between that and your feelings, right?
Yeah.
Because they're involved. All of it's involved inside you. But that's the third voice that's in there is your instinct. If you can learn to act on instinct, okay, because it's clean and it's unfettered by outside bullshit. It is as honest and accurate as information you're ever going to get from anyone, anywhere. It's your gut instinct. Learn how to know what that is and make decisions on it.
So this is good because you do back this up with science here in this.
I did. I got sciencey in this one.
Well, your digestive system is controlled by your brain, of course. Additionally, your digestive system is able to influence your brain.
It's true.
They say that the gut is like your second brain.
Yeah.
Or
your vagus nerve connects them.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
great shit.
good. Chapter 10 is a good one.
That's
It's
true.
really good.
That's good shit.
Well, you have Nikola Tesla quote in here too. Instinct is something which transcends knowledge. We have undoubtedly certain finer fibers that enable us to perceive truths when logical deduction or any other willful effort of the brain is futile.
He says
That's
it better
really
than I
good.
did. Yeah, it's true. He's telling the truth.
He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant.
Every once in a while, you get a man like that, and whether you like him or hate him,
Right.
Elon Musk is the guy of our time right now. That guy is so fucking smart.
I agree with that.
And he's not like, so sometimes when you're way up on the IQ, you're way down on social ability, and he's a little bit autistic-y.
There's
kind of
something
talking.
there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but he's pretty applicable. Like, he's pretty personable. He's able to translate and deal with social shit, even though he's, for lack of a better term, burdened by this massive fucking brain.
Yeah.
Like, that's a guy who, when he's
What a great way
gone,
to put that. He's burdened by this brain. He is.
Well, it is, man.
There's some burden there.
it can hold you back
Yeah.
sometimes.
When he's gone, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
When he's gone, he'll be the guy with statues and shit, just like Tesla was. You know,
I agree.
Thomas Edison, shit like that. Yeah.
All right, we're going on to number 11.
Here we go.
We're past the halfway mark here. We got physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, loyal, instinctive. And this is the one I brought up before we started filming that I thought was pretty close to the number 3, but stoic. And stoicism is something that that I think is big. Being able to control or have emotion or having control over your emotions. There could be a lot of turmoil inside you. There can be a lot of waves going on.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're able, and the word that I like that you put in there with the George Washington quote was countenance. You're able, this thing here doesn't change. In the Marine Corps, we call it bearing.
Okay.
Your bearing is your ability to hold back an emotion. Now, also in the book, you talk about dealing with emotions, being honest with yourself. Yeah. Sure. But a man to stay calm in hectic situations, everything around you is going crazy. I'm just here. All right, we'll figure it out. No problem. Being stoic is that, having control over emotions, not acting on an impulsive, angry because, my wife made this comment to me and I'm just going to react or punch a wall or do something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Instead, I'm going to just sit back and go, all right, let me digest this a little bit.
Yeah. So that's the difference. Okay, you just about got there. So calm is about what's happening inside of you, and stoic's more about what are the actions you're going to do as a result of that.
Okay.
So you put yourself in a place. So thanks, man. It took me this long to put that together. It's about what are you going to do? So in that chapter I talk about heroes, and right, wasn't that? Yeah, when I talk about the guy with the.
There's a great quote that you started the chapter off with, but I've bookmarked a couple things in here.
Okay.
The Lou Holtz quote here.
Oh yeah. Good stuff.
I'm gonna as soon as I leave here, I'm tweeting this out here because this is amazing. Never tell your problems to anyone. 20% don't care, and the other 80% are glad you have them.
It's fucking truth, man.
Oh, true.
Yeah, dude.
Everyone's a hater, man.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
And hate, it never comes from above you.
That's true.
I guarantee you, Jack Donovan's not going to hate my posts. Not going to hate your posts.
No, he likes that.
Because let's be honest, he's way up here, right? He's the OG. He's not going to hate on us.
Right.
Who hates on you? The people with no username and no picture. That's who you get your hate from.
Yep.
It's the truth.
It is the truth. That's really good. Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, it's a chapter on stoicism. Probably better have a stoic in there.
Absolutely.
Traditional.
His quote, how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it.
And there we are, right? So the consequences are what you do. What are you going to do? If you punch a wall, kick a door in, shit like that. Now you got at least drywall work to do, and probably people in your house who are now afraid of you.
Right.
That's long-term problems that you just created because you couldn't control your actions. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good. People need to pick this up. All right.
Men do.
Men. So, and women too, though.
Well, I think so. I think a woman would read this and have some ideas about what it is to be a good man,
Yeah.
I think it would.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt you.
I'm right. But men do. Yeah, you're right. All right. So, and I do love this, everything about it. This is good. All right. Physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, loyal, instinctive, stoic. And here we are, number 12. This is a big one for me. Disciplined.
This is what you were talking about earlier about consistency, how important that is. Yeah.
Yep. The quote here in the beginning, Will Rogers, too many people spend money they don't have to buy things they don't need to impress people they don't like.
It's true.
Great quote.
Fucking guy was right.
We'll define discipline this way. Willingness to do things you don't want to do now so that you can reap rewards later. Discipline is deeply tied to the concept of delayed gratification. Breaking down a man having discipline and how important that is for a man to have discipline.
Again, defining characteristic, just like all of them. But whatever it is, man, you want to have a retirement. You got to be disciplined about two things: about making sure you're making good money, and you got to make sure you're not spending it.
Right.
And that's not, some people win the lottery. We're not going to do that. We're going to work hard and make money over a long period of time every day, getting up and working. That's how we're going to get there with discipline. We're going to make money every day by not spending a whole lot.
Invest in making smart decisions. Don't spend more than you make.
Yep.
That's these are like common sense things that some people don't grasp onto.
Well, because they don't have once you have control of those emotions inside you, shit buying, as you know, is an emotional thing, right? People buy on emotion.
Impulse buying. All
absolutely.
That. Yep.
So I'm doing the right things. I'm buying that candy bar. Looks good. It's the same thing with working out, right?
Yep.
You're doing it every day, and it sucks. I'll be honest with you, man. I love the fact that I spend as much time in the gym and working out and running and doing all the stuff I do, but I've never been in the middle of a run going, "This feels so good." No, man, it sucks every time.
Sure,
Okay,
yeah.
mentally you're feeling good about sense of satisfaction, all that shit that you know,
Yeah.
and oh, cool, I put up more than I've ever put up. You know,
Jocko
That's
Willink
great,
has the
but it
embrace
hurts.
the suck thing. Embrace the suck. But
Yeah, so I know that's a Marine thing, right? Embrace the suck.
Yeah.
And that's what life is, man. Anybody who tells you differently is trying to fucking sell you something.
I agree.
Okay, there's a lot of damn work out there that you're going to have to do every day, and you got to make yourself do it. Now, there are going to be times when you take a break. Better be. You got to sharpen the saw. You owe it to you. I'm going to talk about that in the new book, the concept of home and all the things that it is and how it heals you and rewards you and puts you where you need to be better for everyone around you. But ultimately, you got to get back out on that grind. No matter what it is, working out, eating, being great with your spouse, being great with your kids. Those are habits that you have to develop, and you got to work at them every single day. Yeah. There is very few people who got what they have all in one chunk.
Right.
Okay, and most of them fail when they do.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Disciplined.
Yeah. It's huge.
This one was interesting. Chapter 13. We have unwavering. Again, we've been through physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, loyal, instinctive, stoic, disciplined, and now unwavering. I'm going to start by reading the beginning. Stress is simply your reaction to a thing that you have deemed stressful. In that way, it is completely your decision to endure it. I thought that was really good. You start off these chapters really well.
Thanks, man. Trying to get your attention. Used to teach kids how to write, and you got to have an attention grabber at the beginning, right? So I figured I better do that.
Unwavering.
Yeah, you're going to tell me that you think it's similar to some of the other chapters, and it is. But when I started writing, it was either the chapter on calm or the other one that's so similar to it.
Yeah.
I started writing about stress. I'm like, holy shit, this has got to be its own chapter. Okay. So that's what it is. Like, the quote that you read is exactly what I've found in life. Like, there is no stress-emitting device that's like this disc that you stick onto your wife or onto your mower that doesn't run or onto your boss where you feel stress, it just gets beamed into you. No, stress comes from inside you, man. You choose to be stressed out by that thing. Now, granted, there are times when anybody's going to be stressed, gone to your head or something like that.
Sure. But
pretty damn rare. You ever had a gun to your head? I haven't.
No.
I mean, literally, not figuratively.
No. I'm trying to think here. No, I don't think so.
So in your whole 41 years, nothing. So that's my point, right? Yeah. So you choose to let these things bother you. Okay, it's about external factors and all the things that are going to happen to you, including cortisol, which can fuck up all kinds of things in your body as you let stress impact you. How is there an upside to that?
I love that you back a lot of these things by science. I mean,
try
really,
to,
like
man. And real fucking science, right?
Right.
Not the, follow the science bullshit, but actual fucking, do some research.
Absolutely. It is really good. All right, number 14. We've gone through physically fit. I hope you don't mind I reread it.
No, man, it's fine, dude. Your show.
Violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, loyal, instinctive, stoic, disciplined, unwavering. And here we are. This is a big one for me, especially with having boys.
Huge.
Competitive.
Oh, we're at competitive. All right, cool. Yeah. So same thing. Yeah, if you have boys, competitive is, I think there are two categories that they're going to, when somebody says toxic masculinity, that's going to mean one of two things. It's either traits that just make you a man when compared to a woman, which are not at all toxic. That's just what makes you a man.
Right.
And then there's things like that you would just call somebody who's an asshole, right? Which are not defining characteristics of a man.
Yeah.
So in this bucket of things that make you a man as opposed to a woman, men are by nature very competitive.
I agree.
Okay. And it isn't about, oh man, we're gonna shoot craps in the alley. It's not about, hey, let's see whose car's faster. It is about those things, but ultimately it's about ascending and testing your mettle and seeing how good you can possibly be. Like I told you before, I'm always looking for a new challenge. Let's see if I can fucking do this. That's a very natural masculine thing. And schools are trying to weed that shit out. I mean,
the participation trophies there.
Oh, fuck, man.
Right?
Don't get me started.
I know.
After 11 years in public education, I've got some opinions.
I'm sure.
Yeah, competitive.
You can say whatever you want, by the way.
I appreciate that. I know I can. Yeah, freely, right? Yeah, being competitive, it's absolutely huge. Why do you think we have tall buildings, man? Why do you think we have the Super Bowl? Why do you think we have big hair and big boobs and big trucks and all the things that make America great, because everybody's trying to outdo each other.
Right.
Being competitive is a good thing. Any socioeconomic expert, anybody who's an economist is going to tell you competition brings prices down.
Capitalism. Right.
Everybody wins, man.
Yep.
Competition is awesome.
Right.
When you take that idea out, especially out of schools, you're forming human adults. You're forming Americans. And you're going to tell them competition's not important and everybody should get something just for being alive? That's horseshit, man. It's going to make our country worse. Actually, physically, tangibly make our country worse when you take competition out.
I agree. Yeah, competition. I'm going to read this real quick. Competition is one of the many male traits that must be taught outright, or at least learned through watching role models. And that was the big thing, having someone to show you an example.
Yeah.
Once you've mastered how to compete properly with boys around you, you then will learn to focus instead on improving your own previous marks. There's a lot of word competition too. There's some competing against yourself, being better than you were the next time.
Yeah, and that you mature into that, right?
Yeah.
You mature into that.
This is really good.
I'm glad you like it, man.
I do. I really like it a lot. There's something else there too that and bold is the next one, which is a good one. We'll get to that in a sec, but I don't want to say being a good loser, but you have to learn how to lose at times. And competition, in the arena of competition, failure and losing can also teach you a lot. It can be a really
teach you a whole lot more than winning will. I mean, way more.
I agree.
Dude, 3 and out. You're a football guy, I assume.
Yep.
Hey, you just went 3 and out. And what are you going to do now? You're going to sit on the bench and you're going to look at the plays, and your coach is going to talk to you. And when you go back out there, you're fucking better. You're
going to make changes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're better.
Yep. Losing,
it's the best thing in the world. As a teacher, that's where I always got in trouble, man. I wanted these kids to have consequences for when they fucked up. I wanted them to screw up in my classroom because it's so much better to find themselves flat on their back with me around when they're 14 or 15 than 25 when there's nobody there. I want to teach them how to deal with that, how to realize, oh, cool, this is a great opportunity. Fuck, look at all the shit we're going to learn. Look how much better you're going to be as a result of you shitting down your leg just now. You know what I mean? Like, that's so damn helpful, and nobody sees it that way, you know?
Yep. All right. Physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive. These are all great traits. Honorable, honest, loyal, instinctive, stoic, disciplined. I think at the end I'm going to tell you which ones are my favorite.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm going to ask you too. I want to know
I know
if
what
you
mine
have
are, yeah, for sure.
All right. Disciplined, unwavering, competitive, and now here we are. We have 4 left. Bold, number 15.
Yeah. So I talked Ernest Shackleton, if you do a little research, he's a guy who was doing Antarctic expeditions, I don't know, 150 years ago, 1800s, I think. And he put this newspaper article out there, which got me thinking about this. He said, hey, terrible conditions, you probably will die, we probably won't succeed. But if we do, there's going to be honor and recognition. And if you're a guy, all you see is, ooh, honor and recognition. I know I can handle all that shit. I'm tough, right? Yeah. And so they go and, he's successful and whatever. But essentially, the chapter on boldness, has to do with risk-taking, and that's a little different than being competitive. I think it has maybe competitive with yourself.
I agree with this, the bold being different than having having both of them in there. That's good.
Yeah, risk-taking, I think, is totally natural for a male. And I've done field research on this. You sit down to play a poker game. It's probably all dudes. You're in a golf league. It's probably guys. You gamble. Like I've got a sports betting thing I do, and it's all my buddies. There are no girls in it. Yeah. A lot of times fantasy football is pretty much mostly. Like that's a thing guys want to do because it's all wagering and taking risks, right? I'm willing to bet this that I can do that. Yeah. I sat with my buddy's son, who's kind of a crazy little kid, good kid, and we're sitting at his place, and he's working with this little bow and arrow. Kid's about this big. And I said, listen, man, I'll give you $1 if you can hit this target right here. Yeah. Oh, and it just fired him up. He's, oh, and now he's practicing. I go over there and correct him a little bit, get his elbow up, and now he's doing okay. And I'm like, all right, cool, here's your $1. I'll tell you what, I'll give you another $1 if you can do it from back here. And it kept him busy all night. That idea of risk-taking, it's huge for men. And that's just a little boy, right? And you can see it purely in a youth. And as you get older, as a guy, it's also very natural.
The risk averse among you will not achieve at the same rate as those who are willing to put it all on the line, as Teddy Roosevelt did.
It's true. Yeah, TR, when he was a little kid, they told him he had asthma and he would never have like a normal life, so he couldn't work out. He couldn't exercise. He couldn't run. He couldn't do all the things that you did before you had a phone in front of you. And he was like, "Oh yeah, hold my beer."
Right, watch me. Yeah.
And created his own workout regimen and actually worked his way through as he grew through that asthma and became a fit, strapping, athletic stallion.
Right.
Yeah, the guy was awesome.
He was awesome.
Yeah, and he was willing to risk his life. They told me he would die if he did that. And he's like, "Well, I'm going to be dead. Like, this is no life I want to live. So I'd rather be dead than not have a life like this."
That's awesome.
Risk taking, man. It's huge. Being bold.
Being bold. All right, we got. And I noticed on the cover though, some of these characteristics are a little bit. So they stick out more than others.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
All right. So here we are. We got 3 left. We've gone through physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, loyal, instinctive, stoic, disciplined, unwavering, competitive, bold, and now here we are at capable. Capable.
Yeah, this I think where your modern man is struggling the most. I've got really good friends who are great men by all definitions. They don't cut their own grass. They don't know how to turn a wrench. They can't fix anything on their house. And the quote I left at the back of this, I get a lot of positive feedback from guys. I say something to the effect of, if you invite another man into your house to do these things for you, you're bringing a much more masculine man into the home where your wife and your kids live. And, horror movies and porn flicks start like that. Do you want your wife and kids starring in either one of them? Probably not. So, I'm going to try to shame you into getting your shit together, right?
That's good.
You better have some tools at your disposal. You better know how to run a chainsaw. You should be able to change your own oil. Like, there's some real basic shit. And again, it's just it's about making yourself, it's not just about being a great man. Ultimately, you are what you are in reference or as compared to a woman, right? And if you want to be a great man, even in her eyes, you should be able to do this shit. I mean, if your wife's cutting her own grass,
I know.
Yep. If you're pulling up to a gas pump and you're sitting in shotgun playing on the phone while she's out pumping the gas in the winter, bro,
I hear you. You're right. I agree 100%.
Capable.
Yep.
Okay,
Capable is a good one.
This is part of something that you don't want her to have to provide for herself. You better bring that to the table.
That's good. As a man.
Yeah.
Being capable. All right, here we are, number 17. We got 2 left. Physically fit, violent, calm, accountable. I love reading through it. Appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, loyal. These are all great traits for a man. Instinctive, stoic, undisciplined, unwavering, competitive, bold, capable, and generous. Chapter 17. You left me a note when I got to this one. I didn't, until I got here, I didn't see it. When I got the book, I go, all right, let's start here. Page 1, let's go. Yeah. And then when I got to it, you left me a great note here. Again, I swelled up. I'm not going to read it because I might tear up. I'm pussy. All right.
Well, that's what the chapter's about, being a pussy. That's overdoing it. But go ahead.
Generous, number 17. It's Henry David Thoreau. You wrote a quote here. It is difficult to begin without borrowing, but perhaps it is the most generous course, thus to permit your fellow men to have an interest in your enterprise. The owner of the axe, as he released his hold on it, said that it was the apple of his eye, but I returned it sharper than I received it.
And there's the point. In both fashions. So I'll translate that.
Yeah.
So if you in a lot of ways, you're doing somebody a great service when you ask them for their help, because you're giving them the opportunity to show how much they mean to you, to, at the very base level, show you that they have these skills, and maybe they want to put them on display, right? But that's what it is. I talk specifically in there about with your wife, your girlfriend. She's pretty good at emotional stuff. You want her to ask you when you need help, when she needs help moving the fridge or doing these other man things. So you need to be comfortable asking her for help on the emotional side of some things, okay? Sometimes you need another set of eyeballs, you need another set of ears, you need a shoulder sometimes. You've got to be able to be comfortable enough with yourself. Yeah. That's a form of generosity to ask, hey, display your wares here, show me how good you are at this, and help me out with this thing that I need. Because once you do that, now they feel comfortable asking you for help, and now you have a much more reciprocal relationship, right? Which is the thing that you want. So what he's talking about is it's hard to begin anything in your life when you're a kid. Figure you're young and you want to get started. You want to buy a house. Maybe you call your parents and you begin by borrowing. You ask for help.
Right.
You ask for 10 grand. What you gave your parents back 11 or 12. You know, hey, thanks for the help. You brought that axe back sharper than it was when you got it.
I like that.
You know, also a man trait. My dad always taught me that. You borrow the car, you bring it back with a full tank, right? Shit like that.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's how generosity works. Now I specifically talk about.
Wow, that's good. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, man.
That's good. Those are all stuff my dad taught me.
Hey, you had a good fucking dad, dude.
Going.
It's obvious.
Keep going.
That's obvious. You don't realize that, but there are so many men who didn't, and you wear it. Yeah, so the idea of being generous, right? So as you've developed your knowledge over the years at your job or with romantic relationships or whatever it is that you've been able to be successful at, if you're not sharing that with other people, that's a crime, dude.
Yeah.
All that wisdom. You think, you know, when an old person passes, it isn't just them and their personality that's gone, but all that collected wisdom that they had, right? So why aren't you sharing it now, the stuff that you already know? You know, with that guy at work who's new, maybe just needs a pat on the back, taking to lunch. Hey, man, how's everything going for you? I remember when I was where you are. You can do it.
Yeah.
A little attaboy like you were talking about with your friends. Hey, why don't you do that podcast? You should do it.
Yeah.
You can make that impact on these people around you. Once you get to a certain point in your life, whether you like it or not, you're leading all the time. Walking down the sidewalk, people are looking at you going, that guy's a fucking leader. Looking at your posture, how you handle yourself when you talk to people, they know that about you. Yeah. And so you have the responsibility to lead them. That's part of being generous. Share your time, share your knowledge, make other people around you better. I talk a lot about the concept of kingdom. In your kingdom, it's not the world, it's not political, it's the people you touch. It's the people under your roof for sure. Maybe your close neighbors, your close friends, the people at work. It's a pretty small circle, really. But that is your kingdom, dude. And it's your responsibility to help all those people be as good as they can be. Now, not at risk of yourself. Yeah. You're not going to drain your own tank to help them. Put your own mask on first, right? Yep. Oxygen mask, not retard mask. But yeah, that's what it is, man. You have to realize where you are in life. Well, share that with people who aren't yet. You know,
here's the one that I from this chapter, because I told you today when you got here. Time is valuable.
Super valuable.
Time is precious. And
it's your most precious resource, eh?
Giving gifts. This is from the book. Giving gifts on holidays is pretty cool, but generously giving your time, your mentorship, and your love are marks of manhood, not to be underestimated. You gave your time coming down here. I'm talking 7-hour drive down, 7-hour drive back. That's something, that's a gesture that I recognize as being just completely generous. And it's a gift that you've given me to come down there and do this face to face. Because we could have easily done it Zoom.
Wouldn't have been as good.
Wouldn't have been as good. This is great.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the shit out of myself.
All right. So, we're at the last one. And then, we'll have a little conversation. We'll get out of here.
I got all day, man. Whatever you want to do.
That's cool. All right. So here we are. Last one, number 18 of these different characteristics. Ideal Man Reviving Masculinity by Travis Neville. He's got all 18 on the front. Physically fit, violent, calm, accountable, appreciative, decisive, honorable, honest, loyal, instinctive, stoic, disciplined, unwavering, competitive, bold, capable, generous, and finally, the last one that I have when I started the podcast, it was something that it's a phrase I tweeted out, and I've kept tweeting it, and I've kept putting it out there on Instagram. And the thing that I put out there is relentless pursuit. But your 18th one is relentless. And
burn the ships, man. Burn the fucking ships.
Go ahead. Break it down for me. Relentless. Why?
I know I'm giving away the fucking punchline, but that's what it is, dude. I don't care what it is that you want to do in the world. I don't care what it is you want to not do anymore. Do it or die trying. That's it. You want to get through. The guys who've been through SEAL training will tell you that, right?
Buds, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That, if you are one who's like, man, I got a great woman at home and a good job to go back to, you probably aren't going to make it. But if this is the only option for you, you'll fucking make it. Okay. Now, I don't think you put yourself in a David Goggins type of life. You know, I would never want his demons. If you've read his book,
yeah,
I would never want those demons. But boy, they sure have pushed him.
Yep.
He's done some amazing shit.
He's done some amazing stuff.
I wanted the last chapter to be, hey, I just laid a lot on you. You know, I just put a lot of things in front of you that you need to do all the time. But the only way it's going to happen is if it's your only option. Do it or die trying, man.
Becoming relentless, you have 3 points here. If you don't mind, just touch on this.
Sure.
Number 1, call, don't text.
Show up. Don't do it over Zoom.
Okay. I love this. That's perfect for you to say that right now. That's amazing. Number 2, when you hear no, ask again in another way.
Yeah. It's a basic sales technique.
Yep.
But, it isn't, you're not being a dick. You can tell by a person's countenance whether or not it's going well. You know what I mean? If you can do it or not.
And then work harder.
And that's it. You can always work harder.
I agree. What a great book, man.
Do you think it did what I wanted it to do? Is it a thing where a guy who didn't have a dad can use that as a reference and maybe move more into where you are, for example?
I think this is really good. And I think the traits that you chose here on the cover, these 18 different characteristics or traits of, if you're going to build a man, we're able to construct a man.
That's exactly what we're trying to do here. Yeah.
Right. There's not one I would take off this list, and you could probably, if we sat here and brainstormed all day.
Oh, we'd come up with 100. I had 100, and I had boiled it down to 18.
How long did it take you to write this?
You're not going to believe me when I tell you, but that's probably 4 weeks.
Really? That's quick.
Yeah, and I just sit down and write for an hour or 2 a day, just on the weekdays, and on the weekend I don't do anything. That's to write it, to puke it out, essentially.
Yeah.
Now you got way more time than that. Editing, rearranging for effect, deciding relentless is going to be last and calm's going to follow violent, and ordering that, and then as I go through the paragraphs.
There's a method to the madness with this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of it builds on it. Some chapters you can't have after this other one or before this other one because you got to read the other one first, right? You have to have the background. And a lot, I think it's accessible in this order. As you go on, it's harder. Each one of them is harder than the one before. More complex, more difficult to grasp. So there were a couple breaks in there.
The order was specifically chosen.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned the bold or some of them are bolded.
I'll read the ones that are a little bit bigger.
Okay.
On the thing. So violent stands out, decisive, instinctive really stands out, bold stands out, and then relentless is the biggest one at the end. So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the big 5 that stand out: violent, decisive, instinctive, bold, and relentless.
Well, I'm trying to market a little bit, right? I want you to be able to look at that and go, hey, I want to be those things. Or I think I am those things.
Yeah.
And I had to, again, violent had to be one of them because that's the one that's going to be the most controversial, right? And that's how that's just kind of
dangerous is the quote that Jordan Peterson does. He does.
Yeah, and if I had it to do again,
dangerous.
Really, I probably would have done it as dangerous.
No, keep that. No, violence is the way to go.
I'm not going to redo it. I can't.
No,
sorry,
right. But I mean, don't look back at that and think, violence is the right word there, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like I said, I was trying to catch. I just imagine a guy coming by, masculinity, and seeing those words, and he's going to think one of two things: either I am those things, or I want to be those things.
I got to work on
and it's going to make me go deeper into it. You know what I mean? That's what I was trying to do.
8 out of 18. Give me your top 5.
Oh shit, top 5.
Can you do that? Can you give me like that? I know they're all important, but
of course
ones that stand out to you and go, these are my.
I think the one that we're missing the most is, I think the one that if we could get everybody doing, that would make the biggest difference is accountable. If we were,
I like that.
If we had chapter 4, because there's just such freedom in saying, you know what, I fucked that up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You sent me a text today and you're like, hey, we're not going at 12, we're going at 12:30. And I know a part of you was like, fuck, man, I don't want to, rock the boat here. But you told me exactly what to expect, and nobody's ever going to have a problem doing that, right?
Yep.
I was like, all right, cool. This guy's direct. He's going to be accountable. Hey, I can't control it. It's whatever.
Right.
So many people want to blame everybody for the things going on in their lives,
Yeah.
I had this conversation with my friend Sarah I was talking about. And I'm like, I used to, when I was dating, I'd meet a woman, and you can tell within 5-10 minutes, or at least I can, what their major malfunction is. You can just see it, and they don't know it. You could sit down with me and figure out what my major malfunction is. You can figure that out. It doesn't take very long.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out later. But nobody's really capable of hearing that about themselves, right? So if I tell you what it is, you invariably are going to get very defensive and have a bunch of explanations for it. Now, maybe that becomes a jump-off point for you to start working on that and developing it. But every time in my experience, you're not going to do well. You're going to blame other people for this thing that you're doing. And if you could just very honestly go, yeah, I do that. Holy shit. not only do you feel better, but the people around you will.
Yeah.
And what a great opportunity to look in the mirror and see, hey, this is what I'm looking
taking
like.
ownership of
everything in your
everything
life.
in life.
Either shit's your fault,
Yeah.
or it's everybody else's fault, or either it's the credit goes to you,
Yeah.
or the credit goes to everybody else. There's no combination. It's one or the other. And don't you want to take credit for the cool shit you've done?
Yeah.
I sure as hell do. I've done some cool shit. I just built my own house. Never done that before.
That's awesome.
Did it myself. It was cool as hell. Yeah, so accountable. Thank you. I'd say accountable. Certainly number one.
You know what that does to ownership? When you take ownership over something, sometimes people expect you to give excuses or fight back. Well, this is why that happened, or this is why. When you, it almost puts a fire out. It's like
exactly what it does.
It's like someone comes up to me, hey, man, you, in a work environment, hey, you messed this up. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I will. Either you can say I'll fix it, I'll own it, and it will never happen again.
Yep.
And then
thanks for making me aware too, because it took courage for you to tell me I fucked up.
And they don't have much to respond with when you own something.
No, it's over.
Okay.
Bucket of ice.
Right, done.
Yeah.
When you start giving us, well, you know, he did. It wasn't just me. It was this person. Or you start pointing.
Even
fingers.
if it was,
you start pointing.
Now
fingers.
you're a fucking rat.
Right.
You don't want that.
I agree. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, accountable. What about you, man?
I'm with you on accountable. Accountable would be on my list. The top 5 for me, physically fit. I do think. I'm
also ignored by most men.
I'm a fan of Richard Cooper, the Unplugged Alpha. He's pretty good. But your book, if I may, and I'm sorry, Richard, I'm gonna have you on, but I like this book better. I apologize.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, but
I'll read his shit.
But he talks about having presence, having when you walk in the room, having a presence to you, prowess. That's an important thing. To have a masculine presence.
Yeah.
You see a lot of soy boys these days. They got female breasts, and they're not well groomed.
No,
they don't carry themselves. They're not dressed well. You know, when you look back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, you saw men on the streets wearing suits and wearing hats and being presented. They had pocket squares and they had pocket watches and they had all these things, and they were gentlemen. But I mean, so I think physically fits. I would do accountable, physically fit. I got other 3, but go ahead. Give me your next one.
Yeah, physically fits. Like I said, space for everything. Nothing else works without that. And that doesn't work as well.
That's why you started it with that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll start every book that way. The new one starts with that. Man, I'm gonna tell you violence in the top 4 for sure.
Yeah.
Because I believe that has presence with it as well. Right. Just like any other leadership quality.
You could put violent and capable together for me. Are you capable?
It's a form of being capable
of violence.
Yeah.
Because if you're not capable of violence, that's the Jordan Peterson quote. Then, if you're not capable of being dangerous, then
you're harmless.
You're harmless, and that's not being a good man. Not
at all.
That's right.
It's about. Peterson talks about. The quote is, "The meek shall inherit the earth."
Yes.
Right.
That's a Bible verse. Yep.
Yeah, and he says that. He said that's a loosely translated version of it. The actual, if you really translate the original Hebrew or whatever it was, is those who have swords and keep them sheathed shall inherit the earth. So those who are capable of the most damage and can control it, those are the ones who will inherit the earth.
There's the other quote too. You'd rather be a warrior in a garden
than a gardener
in a war.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. Yeah, I would say violent, physically fit, accountable is a great one. Loyal's on there for me, top 5. Loyalty is top 5 for me.
Yeah.
You have people around you that are loyal to you. Having disloyal people around you, I don't have much patience for that.
That's the tribe you were talking about earlier. Your buddy Matt started the tribe that he did.
Yep.
For better, for worse, he tried it. It's gonna be ups and downs. He'll learn how to do it better next time or whatever.
Yeah. There's to pick 5 is tough out of this one.
I think bold's a good one, just because so many people want to. I love the phrase take imperfect action.
Good.
It's so much better to try to fucking go do something and take a risk.
Right.
Because you'll learn if you fail.
Right.
But sitting around doing nothing, you're just getting fatter and older.
Well, that's that Teddy Roosevelt quote, "The man in the arena."
Yeah, I love it.
That's a good one.
The only thing I love that quote, and it'd be framed in my house. It would, except for that last line, "Daring greatly." That Brene Brown wrote a book called Daring Greatly. She tried to pirate that shit, and she spends the whole book talking about how men need to be vulnerable. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, okay? Your head is so far up your ass. I would never take advice on masculinity from a woman ever, Okay, just like a woman should never take advice
From
on how to
you.
be a woman
Right.
from me. I don't know anything about that shit.
Right.
All I know is from the outside. I don't know what it's like to carry a baby inside me. I don't know what it's like to have that
A period
monthly
every month?
flow
Yeah, I
of
don't-
emotions.
Right.
I have no idea. Matter of fact, I don't want to know.
Right.
Okay, thank you for doing that.
Right.
Keeps our population going. I appreciate it.
Right.
But I got this other shit over here. Right.
Women are very special creatures, man. They're very special beings. They can create life, carry life.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
I mean, I couldn't have more respect for women. That's another thing I run into, as you'd imagine. I write a book about masculinity. Now I'm the biggest misogynist in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Which, man, I love women.
I think you're a woman hater. Right.
My mom's the best lady I know.
Right.
I got a sister. She's great. You know, I've dated some great women. I keep talking about my friend Sarah. We talk every day.
Part of men hold women in high regard. They hold women.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm not a woman hater at all. I'm just not, man.
Right.
But matter of fact, I'd say right in there that it isn't us or them.
Right.
It's us for them.
Right.
You're going to be a better husband, a better father. Women will be better invariably by you being better at what you do.
Yeah. That I regret asking the question for 5 because I can't even myself get to the 5th one because I don't want to lose any of these because all 18 are really good. But if I had to pick a 5th one, I got violent, physically fit, loyal. It's tough, man. Accountable's definitely on there, obviously. The way you talked about that. The 5th one, if I had to pick, I think I'll pick stoic.
That's fair. Suits you.
Because the ability to be stoic in times of turmoil, I think that it's a skill almost.
No, you got to practice it. Everything on here is a habit. You got to practice.
I think it's a skill and I think it's something that can and at the end of the day pay you very well too. Because when people get crazy, hectic, and all this stuff's going around, and you're able to just
and act. You can act.
Yep.
You can do what needs to be done, even no matter what the bullshit is going on around you. Man, when I vote, that's how I vote. I don't give a shit what party you're in. I mean, right now, I think we need to kind of go one direction. But if I believe that you are of high character, and I think you'd keep your shit together when the shit goes down, I'm probably going to vote for you. Yeah. Really like Tulsi Gabbard.
I do too. I agree with that.
At least she's a military veteran. Yep. Blows my mind that you are even eligible to be commander-in-chief of the most powerful army ever created.
Right.
You've never put a flag on your shoulder.
Yep.
Blows my mind.
Yep. No, I agree. Tulsi's really good. And people, I think, would be surprised to hear that from us to say, hey, she's a Democrat, congresswoman from the state of Hawaii. And you know what? She's pretty good.
She's sharp as hell, man.
Yep.
I'd vote for her in a second.
I agree.
I'm not just saying that as an example. Well, I'm just using it as an example. That's not my first choice right now. I'd probably go RFK, I think.
You like him?
Yeah, I think I do, man. I'm reading his second book right now. Just came out.
Yep.
He's a sharp guy. And cool story, man. I had Philip Folsom on my show. Talked about him earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Great dude. And you go through his Instagram, and there's a picture of him with my podcast T-shirt on like this, and he's like supporting me, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And a few pictures later, it's him with his arm around RFK. I'm one fucking guy, 1 degree away from that dude.
Great.
So yeah, it makes me want to. Anyway, if that dude, who I really respect, likes him, then I do too. And all the research I do on him.
Yeah.
But again, I think that
I don't mind RFK.
He'd handle himself if shit went bad. He's not going to freak out and lose his mind.
Right.
And that's what Stoic's about.
Yep.
Be able to be a hero when it's time to be a hero. If you're freaking out, you can't.
Right. I agree. All right. As we're starting to wrap things up here, we've gone through the book, 18 different characteristics, reviving masculinity. Where, again, let's break down socials real quick, social media. Where can people find you? You have Instagram.
I do. It's Travis Neville author, all one word. I think that's what it is now, yeah. And then I have a TikTok back when that was going to get big.
Yep.
It's Travis Neville PCast.
Okay.
And that's
you have
it,
YouTube
man.
Page. You have YouTube.
I do. I think it's just called Travis Neville Podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
I had a girl doing that stuff for me. I have her do it in the summer when I'm working.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, I handle it myself, but I haven't really put much on YouTube.
Gotcha.
But, man, I had a Facebook page for a long time, but I found out that if you want to try to have some sort of a public
opinion there.
Yeah. So I deleted it.
Meta's, we're on Instagram. My brother's told me he's still active duty, 34 years. He's gone through a lot of different intelligence schools. He's got all kinds of security clearance. He said Meta it takes everything. Your data, they constantly listen to you. So be careful. That's why he was like, I have he's on Twitter now. My brother at 52 years old got a Twitter just to see all the shit talking that's going on there.
Yeah, I'm not on there.
He goes, Twitter's safe. I just started one maybe a couple months ago.
Well, now with Elon running it, I feel like it's going to be less censored. Hey,
it's entertaining.
Oh, it is? Just really? It's good people watching, sort of? Maybe I'll check it out. Like, I made a dummy bullshit Facebook account so I could get on Marketplace and buy stuff for my house and that.
Sure.
Like, I use the name James Dalton because that's Dalton from Roadhouse. I'm a huge fan of that book or story. Maybe I'll do a Twitter or an X just to be able to get people watching.
When are you heading back to Michigan?
Friday night. Probably go halfway back tonight.
Okay. Well, I want to take you to lunch.
Let's go, man.
We'll go to lunch and just sit down and break bread together.
Yeah.
Where can they pick the book up? At Amazon?
Yeah, you can just Google it. You Google Reviving Masculinity. It's going to pop right up. It'll probably send you to Amazon. You have
a website?
Yeah, my website's travisneville.com. I make a little more off the books on the website. And it also gives me...
Go to the website.
Yeah, it gives me also the opportunity. I'll sign it for anybody who buys it on the website. I got to spend money on shipping, and it's a little more hassle. But I like I said, I like going to the post office in the morning and shipping out a few. Yeah, I try to. I will, if I know anything about you, if I have the time, I'll look at your socials and see what you're all about and try to kind of tailor a message to you and do it that way. And
that's cool.
Yeah, buy them from my website. I'll sign them and send them to you. You got a box full at home.
All right. We always give the guest the last word here to sign out. Whatever you'd like to say, anything you want to add, go and purchase Reviving Masculinity. It's really good. It's worth the read. It's fantastic. Add it to your library.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, anything you want to say, anything you want to add. We'll go get some lunch, break some bread.
I had a lot of people impact me. I feel like that's like a summary of a bunch of shit that I learned from other people. First and foremost being my dad. Great guy, great role model. I realize now after all this research how lucky I am to have him. Still have him. I'll call him on the way home,
That's awesome.
And
how old is he?
Just thanks. He's 30 years older than I am. He's 77 now.
Okay.
Yeah, great guy. I'm thankful for all the people who let me kind of jump off of their wisdom. All the quotes, obviously, all these great people who've said and thought great things. I think you owe it to yourself to do that. You're a human. Somebody else went through what you went through already. Yeah. Maybe they did it better than you do. Go check it out. That's all I did here is kind of summarize some stuff that already existed out there. That's it.
Well, Reviving Masculinity by Travis Neville. He was our guest here today. Drove 7 hours to be here, which is one of the best gestures that I've ever got doing this thing. But thank you.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
This was enjoyable. Thanks to everybody watching. Check us out on Spreely TV. Download the Freedom Hub app. Go buy Reviving Masculinity by Travis Neville. Go to the website to buy it. It's fantastic. All right, we're out of here. See you, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to watch us. If you like this episode and you'd like to watch another one, click here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.